All right. So, if I have the absolute value of -6, whenever something's inside of the absolute value, it changes a negative to a positive. So the absolute value of -6 is 6. Yes?
Why do they even put the absolute value? Why don't they just put 6? Like, why do you need to know?
So you're going to, because what we're going to be doing today a little bit, and then later on. So if you happen to have something like this, like an expression inside of it. So let's say we had -3 times 2 minus 1. Like that. If we have -3 times 2 minus 1, we would have to solve everything inside of the absolute value and get it down to one digit. And then we do the absolute value of it. So the goal of the absolute value is to get it all down to one number. So 2 minus 1 is 1, times the -3 is the absolute value of -3, which is 3. Alright? So no matter what's inside of it, your goal is to get the absolute value down to one number, and then find the absolute value of that one number. Now the thing about it is, if you have the absolute value of a positive, like absolute value of 4, it's just 4. Absolute value of 6 is just 6. Nothing changes, okay? But, yeah. Alright, so let's start doing some equations. You guys ready? Because this whole chapter is about equations. So let's start off at the very beginning. Now let's say we had the absolute value of x equals 4. The way we're going to do this is we're going to go, so first off, I almost got ahead of myself. Down, thank you for catching me. Okay? The key thing you have to know about absolute value equations, I want you to write it inside of your journal. Absolute value equations have two solutions. So absolute value equations have two solutions. Okay, so in this equation right here, the absolute value of x equals 4. Now this is extremely easy how we find the two of them. The first way we're going to write the equation is we're going to remove the absolute value brackets, and we're going to write it exactly the same as it looks above. So just x equals 4. The second way we're going to write it is we're going to remove the absolute value brackets, and we're going to have it set equal to whatever is set over there equal to -4. And there's your two answers in that one. It'll make more sense as we get a little bit farther, but that's it on there. Okay, I'm going to show you, we're going to get into an equation here now. So that is technically an equation, x equals 4. I don't want that one. I don't want that one. I want one that's better than that one. Or that one. That's going to be the same thing. There we go. Okay, so if we have this, 4y minus 2 equals 10. So the absolute value of 4y minus 2 equals 10. Remember, you're going to have two solutions. So you're going to write the equation 2 times. The only difference is you're going to have something different on the end every time. So the first way you're going to write the equation is the exact same way it looks. So everyone see how it says 4y minus 2 equals 10? The first way we're going to write the equation and solve it is the exact same way it looks. The second way we're going to write the equation is whatever's left over inside of the absolute value, we keep that the same. The only thing that we change is what it's set equal to, which is -10. Now, you may ask, why do we do this, right? Nathan drilled it. Absolute value is the distance away from 0. But it's not just the distance one way, it's also the distance the other way. So that's why we do this. Is absolute value can only equal negative, but that's why we have to have two different equations, because absolute value is the distance away from 0 both ways of the 0, negative and positive. So and then you're going to go through and you're going to solve both of these equations. So everyone go through real quick, solve both of those equations. Tell me what my two solutions are. Okay, Bo, solve this first one for me.
So add 2 to both sides,
Okay, so 4y equals 12.
and then divide 4 to both sides.
So y equals 3, right? Okay, what about this one?
Same thing, but it's negative 2.
So add 2 divided by 4, so y equals,
Negative 3.
no, negative 3. Negative 2. When you add 2 from there, it gives us negative 8. So your two solutions are going to be 3 and negative 2. Okay, let's look at another one. You guys ready? I'm going to start writing a little bit smaller now so we can get more on one page. Okay, the absolute value of 6w minus 3 equals 15. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to write out two different equations. The first equation we're going to write is the exact same way it looks above. The second equation we're going to write is what's inside of the absolute value, the exact same.
Look, isn't that not absolute value?
No, because look, we got rid of the absolute value symbols. When we write out the equation,
So, but why do you do 2? What does it give you the answer?
because it's the distance away from 0 both ways. That's why we have to have two different equations. It gives us the distance away from 0 this way on the number line, and this way on the number line.
Oh.
Okay, so I'm just going to go through real quick. I don't think we need a ton of time. So w equals 3 and w equals, those are the exact same answers, aren't they?
Yeah.
That's not going to happen every time. Okay, any questions on those type of problems? So how many solutions do absolute value equations have? 2. All right, let's get a little bit tougher here. We may see something like this. The first thing we're going to do is we have to get the absolute value alone. So everyone look at this problem, there's an issue. Does everyone see how there's a negative 7 next to the absolute value?
Yeah.
In order to properly solve these equations, the first thing you have to do is get the absolute value alone. It's like a variable, right? The goal is to get the variable alone. Absolute value is kind of like a variable. The goal is to get it alone. So if we have extra stuff with the absolute value like this, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get rid of it. Now this is negative 7 times the absolute value of x plus 2. So what we're going to do first is we're going to divide both sides by negative 7, which is going to give us the absolute value of x plus 2 equals 7.
So you couldn't just like add 7?
Nope, can't add 7 because 7's multiplying to it. Good question. Then what we're going to do is we're going to write it the exact same way it looks above. As soon as the absolute value is alone, we're going to solve it the exact same way before, right?
So can't you just x plus, so x equals 5 plus 2, so that's 7, and then times that by 7 which equals negative 9?
But how many answers are there?
Huh?
How many answers are there?
2, so.
2. So I encourage you to do it this way. So the first way you write it's the exact same way above. The second way you write it is with a negative 7 over there. And then you solve both ways. X equals 5. X equals negative 9. Now you're going to be given a lot of problems with stuff that's outside of the absolute value. that you're gonna have to kind of manipulate and move around. But here, I'm gonna let you guys try this one on your own. You guys ready? It's very similar to the one above, so I'm gonna leave it right there so you guys can kind of see it. There you go. Solve that one. Okay. Spencer, what do I do first? Divide -5 to both sides. So we have the absolute value of u plus 2 equals 8. Now what, Spence? And? Perfect. So our answers are u equals 6 and u equals -10. Does everyone see that? Good.
What if there was a 0, like 40? How
So-
would you do that in
So
fractions?
40 was 0,
So it's just 4 over 5.
then you just write 4/5. Yep. So if this was a 4 right here,
Yeah.
yeah, you just have 4/5, -4/5. Okay, the next way we're going to talk about how to solve these. And these things do get kind of, this one's actually, I think, easier. For some reason, when I teach it, when I show this one, everyone's like, what the heck? This is, get in your mind right now, this is significantly easier. But I always save it to last because for some reason, people like Jackson hate it. We have to beat him with a stick. Just kidding, Jackson. Okay, Jackson. What do you think I would do first, Jackson? Add what? That's 21.
Oh, that's funny.
I thought that was
Now what? Say it again, but with a different number. Ah, boy. Add 20. I see you said 2, and I don't know why. But whenever a student says something that I don't have written down, I always look up here to see if I wrote it wrong up there. I'm like, it's the exact same here as there, but I'm always like, where the flip is he seeing 2? All right, I get it. You thought it was an absolute value bracket. It's not! So we're going to add 21 by itself. Why would we do that? Why, Bo? Because we have to get the absolute value by itself. So now we have the absolute value of v equals 8. As soon as you're there, it's extremely easy. You write it the exact same way it looks above. The second way you write it is with a -8 over there. And we're done. All right, so one more of these here. Let me see what we got here. Pick, actually, you want to know why you guys are going to create this one? No, you're not. I'm doing it. Absolute value of x plus 6 equals 10. Cooper, what do I do first? Subtract 6. Why would I do that, Cooper? Sure you do. What do I want to get alone? Yep. Now what, Cooper? So 4 and -4. And there's your two solutions. Okay, any questions on how to solve absolute value equations? So, trick question, Anna. How many answers do absolute value equations have?
Why'd you say that?
How many, Anna?
2?
Got a girl.
Wait, I knew that. Why did you say 6?
Joe, How many answers do absolute value equations have? Apri, how many answers do absolute value equations have? So, and I'm not saying the test will come later on, probably next week some point. When I get to the test and I give you one of these on the test, and the first person that writes down one answer on it, what do I get to do? I don't want to slap anyone in the face. You'll slap them in the face. Hey, it happens every year. Every single year. Without a doubt, every time when